Good evening. It's March 26th, Wednesday, 2025. It's my honor and pleasure to speaking with Mr. John J. Jeckovich, a humble World War II hero. How are you doing today, Mr. Jeckovich?
Good, I'm good.
You're looking well.
Thank you.
I heard you had a nice visitor today.
Oh, yes. Amber, yeah.
Yeah, she couldn't stay too long, huh?
No.
Amber Nicole Jeckovich is Mr. Jeckovich's great-granddaughter. She comes by to visit him often. She's a full-time missionary. Jen? Yeah, I'm reading to my father now. Are you there? I'm reading to my father. Speaking of Amber, that was her checking up on you.
Oh.
Amber was checking up on you. Mr. Jeckovich had a special visitor, and she must have ESP because she just called to see how you're doing, and I told her you're doing quite well. Mr. Jeckovich has visitors from his great-granddaughter several times a week. Her name is Amber Nicole Jeckovich, and she's in her 20s, and she's a full-time missionary and an avid surfer. Even though she lives on the ocean and she can roll out of her house and be in the sand, she travels all around the world surfing. There's not a country that she hasn't been to. Luckily, she just was in Malibu, California surfing for 3 months, and she just got out in time before the fires started. And then the summers in Australia are quite the opposite of ours. When we're in winter, Australia's in summer. So Amber is a fine young lady and young girl, and she visits Mr. Jeckovich often and makes you happy, correct?
Right.
Nice girl. Mr. Jeckovich was from Company H, the 2nd Battalion of the 291st Regiment of the 75th Infantry Division of the U.S. Army during World War II. Mr. Jeckovich lives by the motto, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today's a gift. Today's a gift.
All right.
Yes, you young boys and girls, keep in mind it's a short dance around the world. It's a short dance around the world, so enjoy every day. It goes by quickly, correct?
Right.
Mr. Jeckovich just said last month he could remember when he was 20 and he blinked his eye and now he's 100. Right? Went by fast.
Yeah.
Mr. Jeckovich was born in 1925, and now we're in 2025, so Mr. Jeckovich is knocking on the door of 100. You hear it knocking, Mr. Jeckovich?
Yeah. Eternity, yeah.
Pearly gates. Mr. Jeckovich is received during World War II, and we didn't know about this until a short time ago. As I said, a humble hero. The guys on the front line in combat, they generally don't speak. It's usually the rear echelon.
Yeah.
What's the rear echelon do?
Well, they're supporting us.
Yeah, it's an important job, but usually those are the guys that speak after any war. And Mr. Jeckovich was combat, front line the whole time. Mr. Jeckovich was beat up, stabbed, shot by a sniper, trench foot.
Lost a hip. Frostbite. Does your frostbite I got
still
frostbite
bother you?
right now.
Yeah. Bombed. He still has shrapnel in his body. If he would go through a metal detector at the airport, what happens?
No, I got a slip. I give him a slip.
You give him a slip, but all the alarms would go off. Yeah. When Mr. Jeckovich was bombed during the Battle of the Bulge, it's a very interesting fact. The Nazis used something called a dirty bomb. And this dirty bomb was filled with nasty things. Razor blades, wrenches, bolts, tools, anything that would spread and kill. And that's why Mr. Jeckovich still has the shrapnel in his leg. However, that same dirty bomb hit one of his best friends, teenager, of course, just like Mr. Jeckovich was, of Donald Lape. Donald Lape's head was blown off.
Yeah.
And the only thing they had was his glasses hanging from his ear.
Yeah.
Mr. Jeckovich closed Donald Lape's eyes, removed the glasses, removed one dog tag, and sent a beautiful letter to Donald Lape's mother and father. The boy was only 18. Ironically, Mr. Jeckovich has been retired for how many years? How many years you been retired for about?
1980.
45 years Mr. Jeckovich has been retired, but ironically, the side note is this. Donald Lake's brother lived only 2 blocks away from Mr. Jeckovich for 20 years. We never knew it until it was too late, until we were told that Donald Lake's brother passed away. We didn't know it.
Yeah.
But that would have been a nice, very nice conversation to reminisce about his brother and your best friend. So, Mr. Jeckovich was awarded the Bronze Star Medal, Purple Heart, Army Good Conduct Medal, American Campaign Medal, European African Middle Eastern Campaign Medal with 3 Bronze Stars, World War II Victory Medal, Army of Occupation Medal with a Germany clasp, Combat Infantry Badge, Sharpshooter Badge with carbine, pistol, and machine gun bars, Marksman Badge with rifle bar, and Honorable Service Lapel Button from World War II. These are all the things Mr. Jeckovich was awarded with as a teenager, and no one knew until 2 years ago. Nobody knew. I guess this is why they call this the best generation. You just thought it was your duty, right?
Yeah. That was normal. That was normal.
Yeah, just thought it was your duty. When Mr. Jeckovich went into the war, he did not enlist. Why didn't you enlist?
Well, my father passed away at 43, and I had to take care of my mother.
That's the title of this book, Their Mother's Sons. Mr. Jeckovich's father, a legal Russian immigrant, came to Ellis Island, worked his ass off with 3 different jobs to try to give this man and the rest of the family a better life. It didn't turn out too well. Mr. Jeckovich's father, Marion Jeckovich, died of a massive heart attack at the age of 43. So at that point on, Mr. Jeckovich was the sole caretaker for his mother. His mother's name was Anna Targus Jeckovich. Mr. Jeckovich stayed with his mother from 11 to her demise when she was 89 years old. But the point of this is this. Mr. Jeckovich did not enlist in World War II because he needed to spend more time taking care of the house, taking care of his mother. So he waited to be drafted. But here's the problem there. If you enlist, you can get yourself a much better position in the armed services. His brother enlisted. He never seen war. His brother never seen any type of war. He stayed in the United States, and he taught other GIs on how to drive a Jeep.
Yeah.
A pretty cushy job.
Yeah.
And besides, your brother wasn't the best driver to begin with, was he?
No, no.
However, if you get drafted, you're usually to go on the front line.
Yeah.
Your party's usually over.
Yeah.
So Mr. Jeckovich sacrificed that, and he was on the front line, and he was on in the European theater for many years. And the
18 years.
Yeah, the last one was the Battle of the Bulge. The Battle of the Bulge. So I'll start reading a few pages of your book, but I'll need your dog tag number to open up the laptop.
421-I-65.
Okay. Did you want to read a few pages?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Mr. Jeckovich is probably the only reason why he's sitting here today, and he came out of World War II. His mother, Anna Targus Jeckovich, was a devout Roman Catholic, and she prayed the rosary every night for his well-being. And so did a former nun from Paris, Renee. A former beautiful nun from Paris, Renee. She prayed the rosary for him. Renee and Mr. Jeckovich were very close as she left the convent. Why did she leave the convent?
Her 2 brothers were killed, and her other 2 brothers were killed, so she got no resistance.
Exactly. Renee was a beautiful nun in the convent, and she got notification. This lady's only in her early 20s. She got notification that her mother and father were killed and tortured by the Nazis. And I imagine her mother and father were probably, only 40 years old at the time. So as a result, she was upset. And then shortly thereafter, Renee got notification that her teenage brothers were killed and tortured by the Nazis. So she left the convent altogether. And this is at the time that the Nazis occupied Paris for 4 long years. For 4 long years, they occupied Paris. And so as a result, she left the convent, and she had a beautiful art studio where she painted the Nazi soldiers.
Their faces, their faces.
Yeah, the higher officers. And what was her purpose of doing that?
Well, they were really egotistical, and they would brag about themselves. Well, so she was there to talk to them, and she passed out information to the Allies.
And then she joined the French resistance.
Yeah.
And what finally happened to Renee?
Well, they found out about her and took out and shot her.
And that was it. That was it for Renee. So we're in the 3rd week of Lent, and March 26th and 2025 during Lent, being the 3rd week, we primarily speak about truth. Truth. No one in the world can change truth. And this has to do with some of our readings on when Mr. Jeckovich freed the prisoners of the wars and Holocaust victims. When you're busting down the chains with thousands of other soldiers releasing the prisoners, what do they tell you not to do?
Don't feed them.
Don't feed them. The truth. No one in the world can change truth. What we can do and should do is seek truth and serve it when we found it. That's hard to find. The real conflict is inner conflict. Beyond armies of occupation and hecatombs of extermination camps, there are 2 enemies in the death of every soul. 2 enemies in the death of every soul. Good and evil, sin and love. And what use is our victories on the battlefield if ourselves are defeated in our innermost personal selves? And that has a great relationship to the Holocaust camps. Minutes, please. Minutes, please.
Yeah.
17.
So we're on the second time around of his book. How many pages is that book?
849.
Wow, 849. How long did it take you to write 849 pages?
Oh, notes and everything, research, and then about 6 months.
Wow. 849 pages. Wow. We're second time around, and we're on the 4th chapter. This is passes the Owensboro.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Jeckovich, how much is your book and where could you buy it?
I can't buy it.
It's not for sale.
Not for sale.
Never about money. This is a book that was written to help the generations coming up maybe have an easier life. Maybe they can learn a lesson. Just to help. It's not about money. Mr. Jeckovich has plenty of money, and he doesn't need to sell a damn book. This book was written to help other people read it or listen to it. Listen to our 400 podcast, and it takes from chapter 1 to the final chapter. So if you have any questions for Mr. Jeckovich, his mind is like a library. Simply text him at 407-366-0000. Text Mr. Jeckovich any questions. He responds to all at 407-366-0000. So I'll just read a couple pages from Passes to Owensboro, because we have a lot of text messages. You feel up to answering any questions?
Go ahead.
Okay. Passes to Owensboro. That's Owensboro, Kentucky, by the way. As I had been at Breckinridge camp for several weeks, I felt confident that we're permanent, since there is no shipping orders the entire time I had been there. I felt assured that this was my last stop and that I would be shipped out with this division in a matter of a few short months. I did not despair at the thought, nor did I dwell upon it for any length of time. I came to the conclusion that I was fortunate enough to be part of an organization that made me feel I belonged and gave me a sense of personal satisfaction and pride in being part of. In Owensboro, by the way, that's where you met Ann MaHoney.
Yeah, had a meeting here on it,
Tell
yeah.
us briefly about that.
Well, that was a good relationship we had there, yeah.
Yeah. So she was your girlfriend in Owensboro.
Yeah,
And you want to fast forward many decades, here's how it finally
what?
here's how it worked out. Mr. Jeckovich, when he got sent overseas, he told Ann MaHoney that he would call her and get back after the war was over with or whenever he could. However, it didn't work out that way. 80-some years later, 80-some long years later, Mr. Jeckovich called Ann MaHoney.
Yeah.
She answered the phone.
Yeah, well, she was 89 years old.
Oh, she was a lot older than that. She was in her 90s. How'd she sound?
Well, she sounded weak. She sounded weak, yeah.
So it was a long time that he'd call.
Yeah.
I'll call you back. Sorry, it's only took me 80 years. And so she sounded very feeble.
Yeah.
The conversation didn't go really that well.
No.
And so after you spoke to your longtime girlfriend from World War II, what did you do?
I took her picture down and put my mother's up there.
Yeah, that's just how it's getting back to the book, Their Mother's Sons. Ann MaHoney's picture sat on Mr. Jeckovich's office wall. He removed it, which you can see the whole wall was yellowed from being there for decades, and he took a beautiful picture of his mother and put his picture into place. And that's how we get back to Their Mother's Sons.
Yeah, that's the name of the book, yeah.
Yeah, Their Mother's Sons. Okay. By most standards, a good majority of the people here were from a staunch and resolute moral fiber and integrity. Something you would look for very closely in a combat center. The men in my squad, with the exception of Sposta, Gaffney, and Sergeant Baker.
Sposta.
What kind of person was Sposta?
Well, he's a New Yorker.
Okay. We're one of the same caliber as the rest of the company. As I did not socialize with most of these individuals outside the regular duty day, it concerned me greatly what reaction would be when we entered a combat situation. So you're trying to align yourself up with strong people in combat. You didn't want any weaklings,
No.
any losers.
Yeah.
Unfortunately today, there's a lot of men that are losers, the last two generations. Their mothers ruined them. They gave them no discipline. They gave them a damn cell phone, and that's their life, is growing up. And in fact, if you give a kid a cell phone, an underage kid that has a cell phone, that's really pretty much child abuse, because all you do is sit there and watch videos instead of getting outside and learning about life and learning about reading. So Mr. Jeckovich wanted to line himself up with a great group when they went into combat. Otherwise, you'd be like the 106th Division, where 97% were slaughtered.
Yeah.
97% were slaughtered. During the World War II, Mr. Jeckovich, what type of weapon did you operate?
I had a 45, I had a machine gun, 30 caliber heavy-duty machine gun, bazooka,
Tell us about the
M1
heavy-duty
rifle.
machine gun.
Huh?
Tell us about the heavy-duty machine gun.
There was water cooled, and it had two sections, a tripod and a receiver.
And so you had a whole squad with that machine gun.
And well, then the rest of the squad would be the ones handling bringing the ammo up.
So you had a whole squad. You had one guy carrying the tripod, which is about 150 pounds.
And then the receiver.
Yeah, and the receiver. Then you had lots of ammo bearers.
Yeah, and then it had pictures.
And the machine gun barrel got so hot, you had to use water to cool it. When you were in the Battle of Balls, it was the coldest winter of record. It was 100-something, 30 or 40 below wind chill factor. How did you keep the water from freezing?
Antifreeze.
I see. And if you actually touched the barrel, what would happen?
You have to burn your fingers right down the bone.
That bad?
Yeah.
Yeah, that bad. Wow. Minutes, please. We were all scheduled for a gas mask drill.
10 minutes.
We're all scheduled for a gas mask drill and instructions in the morning. Our masks were clumsy and awkward to carry, slung over our left shoulders, and I hoped that I would never have to avail myself to one. Entering a large windowless metal building, one squad at a time, without our gas masks were giving instructions on the operation of the mask and how it would protect us from a gas attack. Did you ever have to use the gas mask in World War II?
No, no.
Thank God. Our instructor then told us not to put our mask on until he gave the command to do so. This was extremely important so as to afford us the experience of an actual gas attack. As the white clouds of gas filled the room, our eyes began to water. Our throats became parched and dry, and we started to cough. Do you still remember the smell of the gas?
Yeah.
Yeah. We were then given the command to don our masks. What a relief. We then circled the room 3 times and then exited the room through a small doorway into fresh air. Most of us were coughing, sneezing, and wiping our teary eyes, while a few were down to their knees, heaving everything they'd eaten that morning. It was a harmless tear gas, but quite an irritant. I could smell it on my clothes and taste it in my mouth several hours later. Also, I completely lost my sense of taste and smell. A gas attack could be an enduring or fatal experience. Did you have any more lessons in gas attacks or just this one?
Just the one.
The officers did not accompany us on most of the training exercises, with the exception of Lieutenant Conti. How was Lieutenant Conti?
Well, a typical New Yorker.
Okay. The only times that the other officers were visible were on hikes or night problems, and occasionally retreat. Captain Goodnight made the rare appearance and retreat on a Saturday. How was Captain Goodnight?
He's a fullback in Notre Dame.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. He didn't go over us. He didn't go over
You didn't
us.
go overseas?
No, no.
Mr. Jeckovich, you feel up asking some questions?
Sure, go
We have
ahead.
some questions here. If there's some you don't want to answer, don't answer them. These are questions from all around. And
Yeah.
some are very easy, and some are foolish, and some are good, but we're going to just throw them out there anyways. Mr. Jeckovich, what was your favorite cereal?
Cereal?
Yeah.
Oatmeal.
Okay,
Brown sugar oatmeal.
okay. These are all some good questions, and there's some off the war. When you were in the Army, Mr. Jeckovich, the Red Cross passed out cigarettes like candy bars.
Yeah.
Did you smoke?
No, I gave them to my people in the company.
Oh, you did? Okay.
They were on filler too.
Yeah, what were some of the brands?
Lucky Strike, Pall Mall, Chesterfield.
Okay. Okay. These are some like questions that, you know, are pretty much some good and some off the wall, but we'll try to hit as many as you can. Do you think history is destined to repeat itself?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Mr. Jeckovich, during the war you shot millions and millions of rounds off your high-powered heavy machine gun. Prior to the war, did you own a gun?
I don't know, gun or pistol or nothing. I never shot a gun. My father never hunted. I didn't hunt with him. My father didn't have a gun in the house.
After the war, did you own a gun?
No.
So the only time you shot was during World War
Right,
II?
that's it, yeah.
Wow. 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 That's something. Stand by, I got some new ones that just came in. Mr. Jeckovich, where were you born and raised?
Niagara Falls, New York.
I see. And you spent your whole entire adult life there in childhood, right?
Pardon?
You spent your whole entire adult
Oh, yeah.
life there. Mr. Jeckovich, you were a product of the Great Depression. Did that affect your family?
No, we had Easter stuff, and we had Easter clothes, and we had warm house, good food.
So
But
did-
my mother was a good cook, so she improvised a lot.
I understand. You lived there almost all your life in Niagara Falls, New York. Would you ever move back?
No, it's terrible. It's a dump. It's a
It's a
dump,
dump,
yeah.
okay. What were your hobbies before you were drafted?
Oh, woodworking, electrical, writing.
Mr. Jeckovich, where did you end up going for basic training?
The what?
Where'd you end up going for basic training?
What I doing?
Where'd you end up going? What camps did you go for?
Breckinridge, Owensboro, San Antonio.
You were all over.
Yeah.
4 minutes?
Yep.
Mr. Jeckovich, what was your role in combat? Infantry, medic, or pilot?
Infantry.
Mr. Jeckovich, you're too young to be in a war when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941, but you remember where you were?
I was skating on Gill Creek. Was supposed I was skating Sunday afternoon, and when I went in for lunch, my mother said that you're going to have to be moving out pretty soon.
And what'd your mother say?
Huh?
What'd your mother say when she heard about the bombing?
Well, she said you're going to have to be moving out pretty soon.
And you did?
Yeah.
Right? And you did, but that time you were just too young. Wow. Mr. Jeckovich, being that you spent your whole entire early life taking care of your mother, what was your first initial impression of military life?
Exception?
What was your first initial
It
impression?
was clean and crisp and all the terry. I liked it.
You liked it? Okay. Mr. Jeckovich, before you were drafted, what type of work did you do?
I worked for Kimberly Clark for a while,
what
and I had a business. I had a duplex giant wash.
No, before the war.
Before the war? Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I see. What was your family like, Mr. Jeckovich, before the war?
Loving and tender care.
Beautiful. That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear. How do you feel, Mr. Jeckovich, when you learned about the atomic bomb?
Well, that saved our lives at the time when they dropped that bomb, yeah.
I see. What was your reaction to the war's end?
War's end?
Yeah, what was your reaction when the war ended?
Well, I wanted to get home.
Yeah, no one hates war more than infantrymen, because they're the one in it, they're the one doing it. Minutes, please?
2.
Okay, I see. When you got home after a long time in the war, what did you do then?
Well, my mother had a big list of stuff I had to do. She said, you've been goofing off so long, you're going to have to do all this work now.
So your mother, even though you're fighting a battle on the front lines in horrible conditions, she said to you, you've been goofing off too long, and she gave you a long list of chores to do around the house.
Do the house, yeah.
It's funny.
I loved her,
Of
yeah.
course you did. Yeah, wow.
You've been goofing off over there in Europe.
Yeah,
time to
getting
get back
shot
to
up
work.
and beat up.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Mr.
funny.
Jeckovich, when you got back to civilian life, what challenges did you face
What challenges?
when you got back to civilian life?
Well, I had to get a job. I had to sign in every week to sign up for occupation.
So it's kind of hard to get back into life.
Oh, yeah.
When you received your pay when you were in combat duty, what did you do with all that money?
I gave an allotment back to my mother, about 85% of it.
85, that's good, that's good. Did your brothers?
Well, my brother was overseas. My other brother was in the Coast Guard. He's local.
Okay. Okay,
50 seconds.
okay. So you basically turned over your entire monthly check to your mother.
Oh, well, 85% of it, yeah.
She must have been very thankful for
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Did you write your mother often?
I had 165 emails I sent her. They were emails, I wrote red letters, but when they sent it from overseas, they transferred to the emails, and they were on a diaphragm, I'd say.
Yeah, so they're classified and censored.
165 emails I had her, yeah.
Where are those emails today? I'd like
Well,
to
my
read.
sister got a big bug up her fanny, and she broke up, threw them out.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
that's sad.
Seconds?
10.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Emails, but they
Yeah.
censored them.
yeah.
Wow.
I wonder if we can look those up. Maybe there's records
Time.
of them.